I sat down to play one of the greatest games of all time, with one of the most memorable soundtracks and easily one of my top 10 favorite games. It's one I regularly go back to, not just for nostalgia's sake, but because I find that the RPG-style leveling, the spooky Halloween setting, and the absolutely cheesy story sing to my core. That's right, I'm talking about none other than 1997's Castlevania Symphony of the Night. But considering Castlevania Symphony of the Night isn't available legally on PC without emulating at the time of writing this video, I mean, come on, Konami, this has been a low-hanging fruit for decades at this point. It's neither in the Castlevania Anniversary Collection, nor is it in the Advance Collection. I mean, how? I will often fall back on 2018's masterpiece, Dead Cells. I don't use the phrase masterpiece lightly either. While I don't enjoy Dead Cells nearly as much as I enjoy Symphony of the Night, it almost scratches that hard-to-reach itch. And on the surface, Dead Cells does appear to be very Metroidvania, but the more time you spend with it, the more it opens up and evolves its own identity, and thanks to its many DLC, including the beautiful 2023 Return to Castlevania DLC, the game is still very worth picking up and playing in 2024. Not to mention, the game is so successful, there's an animated series slated to release sometime this year, so it's certain that its popularity and relevance will once again be rekindled. As far as story goes, there's not a lot to say. You wake up as a headless prisoner, and you need to escape the island you're on by defeating the nameless king that rules the land. You come upon world-building tidbits here and there on every level, but the story takes a backseat to the action of the game. And the action is this. Pick up some weapons, beat up bad guys along the way, traverse the semi-randomly generated levels, gain cells, and then level up your gear, die, repeat. The dying and repeating process is all part of the experience. I feel Dead Cells isn't the type of game meant to binge. I'll sit down and play one round, which, depending on the pace I keep, might take anywhere between 15 and 45 minutes. And that feels perfect when I don't have as much time to play games anymore. I'll put in one final round before going to bed and feel satisfied that I got a whole experience. At times, it has an almost arcadey feel, and it reminds me of bellying up to Contra cabinets, dodging a flurry of incoming enemy attacks. Other times, because of the huge variety of melee weapons, it shows the DNA of a side-scrolling beat-em-up. And yet, because of the pixel-precise platforming, it makes me think of the Prince of Persia series. But when you first start the game, that's when it's at its most Metroidvania. Your weapon variety is limited. The branching paths available to you are quite narrow. But bit by bit, you scrape and scrounge some cells together to buy more weapon varieties, more abilities, more skill modifiers, more cosmetics, and most importantly, more ways to travel around the world, including the ability to break through the earth with a ground pound, the ability to summon vines to climb to certain places, the ability to wall run, etc., etc. Once you've gotten into a good flow, and getting into a good flow is one of Dead Cells' high points, you begin to slice and dice through the enemies, racking up kill streaks, and scurrying up walls like a Ninja Turtle. If you manage to complete the game, you're awarded a boss cell, which makes the game harder, but opens up more small avenues of exploration. Health drops become rarer, and the enemies hit harder. But truth be told, I made it past normal, hard, very hard, and now expert level, 3 boss cells loaded in. Dead Cells is now royally kicking my butt, and I can say with satisfaction, that'll do. Even though I know there is more to unlock and small things left in the game to discover, I like that the game has evolved with me, as my skills with the game have improved. Making the game harder didn't mean the enemies became bullet sponges, as so many other games horrendously tend to do, and that is something truly to be commended and emulated. It's not the semi-randomization of the levels and the weapons that make Dead Cells worthy of note. That just keeps things fresher for longer. It's the evolution, along with the player, that makes it something unique. A high-performing player is likely to have the same enjoyment as a less skilled player, without punishing the player when they should be having a good time with what little free time they have available. The game's DLC adds even more variety in levels, enemies, and weapons, and most importantly, and obviously, the reason why it is my Symphony of the Night drunk dial. The Return to Castlevania DLC is just wonderful. It brings back legendary characters like Simon, Richter, Maria, and Alucard, all of which have their own unique dialogues when finally reaching Dracula. I would never call the Return to Castlevania a full Castlevania experience, but it is a wonderful way to spend some time with familiar faces and places. Beating Dracula for the first time, even on a normal run, for me was a challenge. It was definitely a fist-pumping victory moment. It was a solid mix of skill, putting the right points in the right places, and a little dose of luck to get the weapon build-out I was trying for. Thankfully, the game has training rooms where you can practice against all the bosses if you've reached them, so you can try out a variety of weapons and skill build-outs, and learn a boss's moveset in a sanitary environment. So when the real deal happens, you don't have to waste a run after 40 minutes of playing. It's still gonna happen though. There's no extra lives, though eventually you can unlock a skill that will allow you to die once upon purchase, but it's not always a wise choice when you want an optimal set of skills and weapons. There are no continues. You either win a run or lose a run, and you're going to lose almost all of the runs you go on. The big victories feel so sweet. So in the end, a game that I set out to use as a sort of wireframe support doll for a lack of Symphony of the Night in my life ended up being a new game to toss into my pile of favorites, and it also ended up making me think back fondly on a few others as well. It's not without its flaws. For example, I wish the starting level had a bit more style put into it. Of all the levels, it's the least polished, when that's the one that should be the most appealing to snatch in new players. But after a year of absolutely amazing titles, I feel like you don't need to go too far back into the past to find, or even rekindle, your next game. Thanks everyone for watching. I just wanted to say thank you to everyone who has said so many wonderful things during my absence. I don't want to get everyone's hopes up, however. My schedule is still absolutely bonkers. But I missed making videos, so I wanted to dip my toes back in a bit. Two things that really ended up stressing me out the most when I was running Elder Geek at its hottest was chasing new releases and trying to fit into that ever-changing YouTube algorithm. I'm past that now. I just want to make videos that make me happy, about games that make me happy, so I'm setting a goal for myself to just make more. No schedule in mind. I just want to set a goal for maybe once a month, but let's see how life unfolds this year. Thanks again.